Hello guys, welcome back to day 4. Today I'm gonna improve something else, okay? I realized that yesterday I was talking and it feels like I'm just mumbling around, like I'm talking like this. You can't really hear what I'm talking about because I keep talking like this. No intonation, nothing. So today I'm gonna change that, okay? I'm gonna change that. So we'll start off the day by playing this game first, okay? Like always. So this will be the 4th day. Today I will be learning scripting, like for real this time, because yesterday it's not scripting. Yesterday is only messing around with the stuff. But I don't know why each time I change the screen into another screen, it like crashes my OBS, but I don't really know why that happens. But yeah, this is the ASMR for the day. Ooh. It's almost done. It's almost done, as you can see. I really like doing this. This makes my heart chill, you know? My heart is cooling down. And there is also my little brother there. He's also studying right beside me. He's studying for his final test. Oh, you see? You see? I keep mumbling because I'm doing something else. I cannot really focus on talking, you know? But yesterday I said that when I study, I said that I'm not gonna talk a lot. But it turns out studying while talking is actually pretty nice because I understand a lot more because I'm verbalizing my thoughts about what I learned. So it's really nice, you know? Even though I probably are talking with no one right now. Ooh, it's done. Nice. Now what do we do next? I don't really know. I guess. Ooh, ooh. I guess I'll just like do my thing, you know. I'm gonna try to make this border here. Oop. It's not that, not that. This one. Nice. So yeah, this is how I start off the day. I just play this game. Then I continue to study. But let me finish this first, okay? If I'm not talking much, it's because I'm not really thinking about anything. Like playing this game, there is not a lot of thing to think about. But I will always try to speak because every time I speak, I think I will get more fluent each time. Because I still stutter my word using English. So this will be like my second day on talking to the camera, talking alone, you know? Like I'm letting out all of my thoughts. Okay, it's almost done now. Usually, you know, I'm a really good speaker, but using English as the second language, as my second language, it's not that easy. Like conversational, daily conversational language is fine, but when I'm talking right here, it's really hard to let out my thoughts, like what I'm thinking about. Okay, it's done, guys. So I guess let's continue to study. I think my OBS gonna crash. So let me try that. I'm gonna change it to the studio. If it's crash, then it crash. Let me try. Oh wait, I changed the wrong thing. There you go. I changed it. Oh yeah, and it crashed. It crashed. When I press yes, it's gonna be gone. So yeah, see you guys. So guys, I've been trying to fix the crash on my OBS, and I think I know why, but I'm not sure. It's because I am capturing like this different source of game and window. So when I change the window, like make a new source, so it crash. But I don't really know, but that might be the case, but it's fine. It's fine. So I'm gonna try to talk better each time because my pronunciation it's not that good. But I think by talking like this forever, I mean like for a long time, it will get better soon. So yeah, let's just get started. And once again, I'm learning from this dev called Brawl Dev. I'm learning about this Roblox Studio basics, and I'm planning to learn everything, like everything, because what I realize is when I it's really scary when I don't know something, right? I really don't know like what I'm going into, and then I don't know anything. I don't know how to make a game yet. I don't know how can I make my game good, and then I don't even know how to make a game. But I'm trying to work towards that. I'm trying to work on towards that. So that's what I'm trying to do. So you guys just need to know that after a lot of thinking, there is nothing much you can do other than like studying. Like after you study, you can like try to apply the things that have been learned by yourself. And that's how I learn. Like I like to struggle a lot when I learn. Like it doesn't mean that I'm struggling every time I learn, but I like to struggle because when you are struggling, you know that you are really learning, right? Because your brain is working, you're trying to figure out things, you're trying this stuff and that stuff that is usually hard. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do with this. So let's just get started because I can talk for a long time. I can talk for like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, but I'll never start learning. So I'll just start. So you guys will be hearing like the video on the background, so you guys know that I'm currently learning, and you guys can hear that. Yeah, I'm learning. But you guys will see this experience, this Roblox Studio experience, most of the time. I mean, like yeah, most of the time. So it should be this base plate, right? Okay, I'm starting. I'm starting for from a scratch. I'm starting from scratch. So I'll
Welcome back to
focus
my
up
Roblox
now.
beginner
Okay.
tutorial guide. My name is Baldev, and in this episode, we'll be discussing about printing. So in the last episode, we covered the basics of navigating around Roblox Studio and what Roblox Studio has to offer for us that's going to be important for this entire tutorial guide. So for things like moving around inside Roblox Studio, also showing you the services that Roblox has to offer for us, the Explorer panel, and also the Properties panel that we're going to be using throughout this entire tutorial guide. Now that we have that understanding, for the rest of this tutorial guide, welcome back to my Roblox beginner scripting tutorial guide. My name is Baldev, and in this episode, we'll be discussing about printing. So in the last episode, we covered the basics of navigating around Roblox Studio and what Roblox Studio has to offer for us that's going to be important for this entire tutorial. Explorer panel and also the Properties panel that we're going to be using throughout this entire tutorial guide. Now that we have that understanding, for the rest of this tutorial guide, I'm going to be introducing to you concepts relating to scripting. Now, to basically explain what scripting is, it's an aspect of game development that allows you to add functionality to your games that you're creating on Roblox. So the other aspects of game development are things like building, like we just did right here, maybe even things like modeling and also UI designing and all of these other sorts of things. Scripting is a component of game development that allows you to add functionality to your game. An example I can think of this is this spawn location right here. So making the spawn location itself requires building, but actually making it functional requires scripting. So if my character were to join into the game, then we need to tell Roblox that we need to spawn on this spawn location, and if our character dies, then we need to respawn back onto this spawn location. That is what adds functionality to the spawn location, rather than it just being some random part inside of the game. So that requires scripting to be able to essentially tell Roblox that we want this spawn location to function the way it is because of it. And we add functionality through scripts. Now, to explain what a script is, it's basically a document or a piece of paper that has a list of instructions or commands that basically tells Roblox to execute these commands when we join into the game or when a specific thing happens inside of the game. And so when we write these scripts, it's very important for us to write it in a very specific way so that Roblox can read these commands and they can interpret it so that they can understand it, finally execute them inside of our game. Because this is one of the biggest things new developers get confused with, and that is being able to get the syntax down, like understanding the rules and guidelines when it comes to writing these commands, because they fall under a programming language called Lua or Lua U for Roblox. And so when we understand this language, then we're able to write commands effectively and tell Roblox to execute certain commands within our scripts. So let's actually create our first script, and we're going to be adding this inside of the Explorer. And there's two places that are popular for scripts. The first one is the workspace, and the second one is the server script service. But for this episode, we're going to add a script inside of workspace, our first script, and we're going to be adding this inside of the Explorer. And there's two places that are popular for scripts. The first one is the workspace, and the second one is the server script service. purpose. But for this episode, we're going to add a script inside of Workspace. And there's a couple ways you can add objects inside of a folder. One way is to hit this plus sign that's next to Workspace. So I'm going to click on this, and there should be a list full of all of these objects that we can put inside of this folder. So what I'm going to do is say script inside of the search bar, and there's 3 scripts. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're just going to be using the normal script. So I'm just going to click on this. And now we have inserted a script inside of our workspace. And you might have also noticed that our screen has changed to be inside of this script editor. And we can revert back to the game if we want to by hitting down this tab right here. So we are now back into the normal game. And if we want to go back into the scripts, then we just simply click on the script so that we can pull up the script editor again. And when we open up the script for the first time, Roblox is going to add a default command here that simply just says print hello world. Now, it might be a little hard to read for you. So what I want you to do is hit control and then move the mouse scroll wheel inward so that you can zoom in. But I'm already zoomed in pretty well. So if you need to do that, then you can do that very quickly. So for this first scripting episode, what I'm going to show you how to do is write these print statements. Now, what is a print statement? A print statement is basically a command that allows us to write a message to an output window so that we can see it when we run the game. Now, in order to know where this output window is, what we need to do is go back into the game, hit on the view tab, and we're going to click on this button that says output.
Wait, it's different. the Roblox Studio, the Roblox Studio version is different, so I need to find it by myself. Oh, here is view. Output. Hmm. Yes. Oh, here is output. Ah, okay.
So if we click on this, then we can see this window down here that shows our print statements and also our logs as well. That's the whole point of the output window. It's so that we can see whatever we put inside of here show up down here when we join into the game. So if we go into the game, we can actually test this out for ourselves. The way we do that is by hitting on this test tab up here, and then we click on this button that says play. So if we click on this, then what's going to happen is
Okay, simple.
first of all, our character actually loads into the game, and we can play this game normally as if this was a Roblox game. But also down here, we can see in the output, it says hello world, which was our message. And we can actually click on the script that executed this command, and it's going to show us the script and also the line of where our print message executed. So this print statement is basically a print command that tells Roblox that we want to print this message down here inside of this output so that we can see it for ourselves. And we can write our own print statements as well, rather than having Roblox's default print message right over here. So what we can do is actually delete this print statement so that we can write our own print statement. So what I'm going to do is hold down the backspace so that it basically deletes all the lines of code that was over here. So we are on line number 1, and now let's add in our first print statement. Now, one quick thing I want to mention is that when we are writing our scripts, it's very case sensitive, and what that means is you have to be very specific with how you write stuff inside the script. So some things can be uppercase, some things can be lowercase, and it's very important that we understand when it is uppercase and when it's lowercase. So now for our print statement, we're simply going to say in all lowercase, we're going to say print, print, and then what we're going to do is we'll type the open parentheses, we're going to press shift 9, and we're also going to put in the double quotations. So we're going to say shift apostrophe, and so now we can write whatever message we want inside of these quotations. So we can say something as simple as hello, just like this, with an exclamation mark. And there we go. This is our very first print statement that we have going on right over here. We can test this by going into the game and hitting play. So as we can see in the output, it indeed printed our message with hello. Now I forgot to mention really quickly that when we're playing the game inside of Roblox Studio, that we hit play. In order for us to stop playtesting, we go up here and just simply hit stop. I forgot to mention this because I do it out of instinct, so I apologize about that. So we're going to hit stop, and now we're back into Roblox Studio. So now let's go back to our script, and we can actually add more print statements on top of this print statement. So what we're going to do is draw a line by hitting enter, and as you can see, we are now on line number 2. So we can write our print statement just like we did the first time by saying print open parentheses, and we're going to say double quotations, and we can continue what we were saying before by saying how are you doing question mark just like this. So now we have 2 print statements. If we go to the game and hit play, then what we should see in the output is 2 of our print statements instead of just 1. So it's going to start below, and then it's going to say how are you doing. So we hit stop and we go into the script. We can continue this chain of print statements if we want to. We can go and hit enter, and we can write another print statement by saying print open parentheses double quotations, and I can say I'm doing very well. So now we have 3 print statements, and you can continue going down the script editor and just keep adding more and more print statements if you want to do that. If you think this is long, like you have the power to delete the print statements if you want. If you like to get play, then as you can see the output, it's going to display 3 print statements just like now you don't have to worry about syntax right now. It's going to be but what I want you to do is I literally want you to take exactly what I'm here so that you get a feel for knowing how to do this inside of Roblox Studio, and so that you're getting the experience alongside me as you go through these training. So that's basically this episode. What I want you to do for today's is to continue the story of like these print statements, just continue down here, write another statement, or if you want, you can delete all these print statements and write your own story or whatever you want to create. So you just delete and then you start from one. It's really what you want to do. But after you do this, what I'm encouraging you to do is take your print statements, go down to the content and paste it so all of you can see your poem or your message or whatever you're sharing to your audience. Because I think it would be very fun to see what everybody's doing for challenges. So go and do that once you finish this and one more video. If you get stuck at any point of this story, I have a Discord server. We can go
Okay. You guys might wonder why I kind of skip this really fast because, as I've told you before, I'm a computer science degree student, so I already know a little bit of coding, and it's really this is just like Python, so it's not that hard. Print is just print, yeah. So I'll just try to write something here for the sake of it. Hi. Here. Hello. Just like that. It should work. Yeah. It's really simple. Oh, when I click this, it just it's go to it's go it goes to the line where the script is. Okay, that's nice. Okay, so I'm just gonna continue
into
then.
to ask questions and get help for your scripts if you want. Welcome back to my Roblox beginner scripting tutorial guide. My name is Braldev, and in this episode we'll be discussing about data types. So in the last episode, we were able to create a script for the first time and also add some stuff inside of our script inside of this script editor. But now that we've gotten that taken care of, I want to introduce to you a very fundamental concept in scripting that is basically going to be part of. Welcome back to my Roblox beginner scripting tutorial guide. My name is Braldev, and in this episode we'll be discussing about data types. So in the last episode we were able to create a script for the first time and also add some stuff inside of our script inside of this editor, and that is what's called data types. So I want you to imagine this. If we were to, let's say, change some properties inside of the parts that I created in the first episode, so I'm going to select this part here. If you go on the right side, you can see highlighted for it. It's also showing properties
Hey, chill out, chill out.
for this part in the properties window. When we're looking at these properties that are on the left side here, these are the names of the properties that we can modify, and what's shown on the right side is the value of these properties. So when we're working with changing these values, there can be different data types depending on what the property is. So for example, this brick color takes in a color value. So if I select this, and if I were to change the color of this to something different, we're essentially changing the brick color value or the brick color data type for this property. And there's other data types here like cast shadow that has a check mark that shows whether this property is turned on or if this property is turned off. If I click on it, then it's going to be turned off. And there's other ones like transparency, which is a number data type. So if I were to select this, then we can use the slider to basically move this value from 0 to 1 as the max for this property. And if we were to make it go backwards this way, then it's going to make it go back to 0. So as you saw with this transparency property, it slowly makes it more and more invisible as we make it go further down the line. But if we make it go back down here to 0, then we can see this part fully opaque. So now we understand that these properties can have multitudes of different data types that we can use when we're changing properties. But not only that, it also applies to our scripts that we're going to be writing inside of Roblox Studio to use different data types. And if every single property was restricted to just one data type, then we simply just wouldn't have a game, because if every single one of these properties were the same data type, then it would give us a lot of restrictions to what we can change and what we cannot change, which is why it's important to understand these different data types and when to use certain data types. So now that we understand that, let's go back to our script that we created in the last episode. So what I'm going to do is go to the Explorer and then double click on our script. So now that we're here inside the script, what I'm going to do is drop 2 lines by hitting enter twice. And now I'm going to introduce to you 3 basic data types that we're going to have to know for the rest of this tutorial guide. And the first one is called a Boolean value. So now that we're here inside the script, what I'm going to do is drop 2 lines. So I'm going to hit the enter key twice, and I'm going to make another print statement. So I'm going to write in all lowercase print just like this, and then have the open parentheses right over here. Now I'm not going to add in the double quotations just yet, and I'm going to tell you why a little bit later. So right now we just have the open parentheses, and what we're going to put inside of here is the first data type that I want you to understand, and that is a Boolean. Now a Boolean is basically a data type that gives one value or the other. So with this data type, there's only 2 possible values that can come out of this data type, which is either true or either false. And one really big example I can give you for this is a check mark when we're changing a property of a specific part. So if I were to select this, and we have the property known as cast shadow, this is a check mark that can either only be 1 or 2 values. It can either be turned on, like it can be true, but if we select it, then it can be false or it's off. So that's essentially what the Boolean data type is, and we can show this by typing in all lowercase true. And we can see that Roblox highlighted this in yellow to indicate that this is a Boolean value. And we can do the same thing with the other value. So if we drop a line and then write print, open parentheses, and we write false, then these are Boolean values. So it can either be true or it can either be false. And this is going to be very important later down the line when we're going to be using Boolean values inside our scripts. So that's the first data type. But the next one I'm going to introduce to you is a number. So I'm going to drop 2 lines down here, write another print statement, have the open parentheses, and I don't think I need to explain what a number is. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. But in terms of the size of the number we can use, it kind of is limitless, unless your Roblox game literally does
Okay, that scared me.
crash because of how big these numbers can get. You can basically put down a number that's super small, or you can put down a number that's super big. So in this example, what I'm going to do is put down a number of, let's say, 100, just like this. Then as you can see, this number is yellow, but it's not in bold. So that's how you know that this is a number. Now what I can do is drop another line, make another print statement with the open parentheses, and we can have a negative value as well, indicated by a dash symbol before we add a number to it. So if we add 100, then this is negative 100, while this is positive 100. And both of these are whole numbers. Another thing we can do is have decimal numbers. So if I were to drop a line down here, make another print statement, then what we can put down here is a decimal number indicated by a dot or a period. So what I'm going to say is 100 dot, and then some other number after this, like 50. It's going to be 100.50, which is going to be our decimal number. And so these are some of the ways we can create numbers inside our scripts. That's going to be very important later down the line. And finally, I'm going to introduce you to the last data type. So I'm going to write a print statement down here. So I'm going to say lowercase print, and then inside here, I'm going to show you what the last data type is, and that's called a string. Now, we've actually worked with strings in the past, conveniently in the last episode. It's indicated by this up here in double quotations. Now, a string is basically it's a list of characters or words or sentences or however you want to describe it, all contained inside of one data type, which has 2 quotations. So it's going to have one beginning and one end. So this basically shows us that this is a string that comprises of a sentence full of characters and words and all those sorts of things. So we can create another string down here by having double quotations like this, and we can write down whatever we want inside of these strings. So we can say this is a string just like this. Now, what's interesting about strings is that we can actually represent strings with either double quotations or we can even have single quotations as well, and they will both be the string data type. So if I were to drop a line down here, make a print statement, open both parentheses, we can actually put in single quotations just like this, and we can write the same thing. This is a string period. So this is the string data type right here that we actually used in the last episode. We just didn't confirm that this is a string data type. Now that I was going to introduce you what data types are inside this episode. So that's the basics of understanding data types, and this is going to be very helpful for us later down the line as we continue to build up our skills in scripting. So for today's learning objective, what I want you to do is experiment more with these data types by either printing more true statements or printing false statements, or even printing more numbers. You can experiment with these numbers because there's a lot you can do with numbers. There's only so many numbers you can print. And I also want you to experiment more with strings if you haven't already, and even with single quotations as well. So once you do that, go down to the comments and paste whatever you feel comfortable sharing so other people can see what you've been doing in these learning objective challenges.
Okay. Can I like just do this? Oh, oh. Okay. Okay, I can do that. Okay, simple. Let's
So with that being said,
let's
that's the end of this episode.
continue.
Welcome back to my Roblox tutorial series. My name is Robin, and in this episode we'll be discussing about data. So again, this is the next 20 fundamental concept that we need to know for scripting to become a script. And what we're going to do for this episode is actually create a new script so that we can organize our scripts when we go further down the line with this tutorial guide. Because if we were to go back to the scripts that we've been making throughout this tutorial, it can get very lengthy very fast if we use the same scripts throughout the entire tutorial guide. So what I'm actually going to do is go back to our game, and I'm going to go to the right side of the workspace, and I'm going to go down to this property here that says enable. So I'm actually going to uncheck this property so that when the game runs, so if I hit play, then whatever we put inside the script isn't going to run in the output, and I'm going to go down to the, it can get very lengthy very fast.
Oh, wait, the properties doesn't show. The properties doesn't show. You. Hmm. Where? I think it's somewhere here. Oh, this. Okay.
We use the same scripts throughout the entire tutorial guide. So what I'm actually going to do is go back to our game, and I'm going to go to the right side of the workspace, and I'm going to go down to this property here that says enable. So I'm actually going to uncheck this property so that when the game runs, so if I hit play, then whatever we put inside the script isn't going to run in the output because it's now disabled, so the script isn't going to fire when we join into the game. And so that is a property that you might find useful if you were to have scripts that you don't want to execute when the game runs inside of Studio or just in the game in general. So now what I'm going to do is hit stop, and now we want to create a new script for this episode. And to make this more organized, what I'm going to do is actually rename the script on the right side here. So I'm going to right click on the script, and I'm going to hit this button that says rename, and it's going to highlight the name right here. So what we can do is basically just delete this, and we can insert a new name here. So I'm going to rename this to printing data types, just like this, and I'm going to hit enter. It doesn't matter what we call it, but I'm just going to call it printing data types. And so now we can create a new script. So I'm going to click on the plus sign next to the workspace, and I'm going to search up script just like this, and I'm going to insert a regular
Wait,
and I'm going to hit this button that says
wait.
rename, and it's going to highlight the name right here. So what we can do is basically just delete this, and we can insert a new name.
Wait, how to rename this? Return. Return. Where is return on my keyboard? I don't see return. It is usually F2, no? Or I can just click it. Oh no. Return. Wait, no, that's not it. Fine, I'll just click it.
Here. So I'm going to rename this to printing data types, just like this. I'm going to hit enter. It doesn't matter what you call it, but I'm just going to call it printing data types. And so now we can create a new script. So I'm going to click on the plus sign next to the workspace, and I'm going to search up script just like this, and I'm going to insert a regular script just like this. So I'm also going to click on the script, right click it, and I'm going to rename this one to the name of this episode, which is going to be variables. So now we have that.
Variables. Here. Wait. Oh.
Taken care of. I'm just going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see better. And I'm also going to X out of our previous script inside the script editor like this. And now we should be able to know the game and also have the variables tab right up here. So now we have this taken care of. Let me introduce you what a variable is. So a variable is basically a reference to another value. Now that's the simplest explanation I can give. So when we have a name that references a value, then we can use that name that we created that basically acts as the value that we're referencing with the name that we created. Now it may seem kind of confusing to you at first, but I want to write this inside our script so that I can help you understand this concept better. So what I'm going to do is select this print statement and I'm going to delete this because we don't need it. Now what I want you to do is copy exactly what I typed because it may be confusing to you at first. So what I want you to do in all lowercase is type in local, and then what we're going to put here is a random variable name, and it doesn't matter what we call this variable name. So I'm just going to say my variable like this, and I'm going to put in an e here first, but I want to write this inside our script so that I can help you understand this concept better. So what I'm going to do is select this print statement and I'm going to delete this because we don't need it. Now what I want you to do is copy exactly what I typed because it may be confusing to you at first. So what I want you to do in all lowercase is type in local, and then what we're going to put here is a random variable name, and it doesn't matter what we call this variable name. So I'm just going to say my variable like this, and I'm going to put in an equal sign, and I'm going to set this equal to a random data type value that we worked with in the last episode. So I'm just going to say that this is 100. Now looking at this, you might be confused like what does this all mean? Well, to basically understand what's happening here, we don't need to a random data type value that we worked with in the last episode. So I'm just going to say that this is 100. Now looking at this, you might be confused like
Variables without the local keyword will become global, which isn't commonly used and is also not recommended. Oh, it's local to the script. So from what I know, like global variable, you can use it on another script, if I'm not wrong. Okay, I see.
like, what does this all mean? Well, to basically understand what's happening here, we don't need to worry about what this local variable is right now. I'm going to explain this in a future episode. But basically what we have going on here is three components that make up this variable. So what's going on over here is this is a name that I came up with, and this variable name can be whatever name we want the variable to be. As long as we can reference it later inside the script, then it doesn't matter what we call this. And then we have an equal sign here that basically says that we've now created a new variable that is set equal to whatever value is on the right side here, which is going to be 100. So what's interesting about this is if we drop a line down here and we make a print statement, so we write down print and have equal parentheses, and we put down our new variable name that we created, so we say my variable like this, then you might expect in the output to print my variable or something similar to that. But no, you might actually be surprised. If we go to the game, hit test, and hit play, then we should see in the output is actually the number 100. So if I click on this and refer back to our script we created, it's printing out my variable. But why did it print 100? It printed 100 because my variable is simply a reference to the number 100 as we specified here when we created this variable. And so this is what I'm talking about when we're having having a variable refer to a different data type value like this. And this is really powerful to know, and it's going to be one of the most important concepts to understand when we do create variables that reference other values. Now, why do we need to know this? Well, if we were to hit stop, so we're out of the mode, and if I were to go back into the script, I want you to imagine that we have a scenario that if I were to make a print statement like this and then print 5, drop a line down here, if I were to print 5 again just like this, drop a line, and if I were to print 5 once again just like this, then it's going to be kind of repetitive. And what if we want to change all of these values, then we have to go back and change the value for each single one of these numbers. But instead, what if we had an easier way to do this? And that would simply just be replacing this data type with a variable that is referencing a value. So all we need to do is change this value, and it's going to change everything else that is going to be inside this print statement that uses the variable that we just created. So if I were to basically copy this code right here, so if I were to select this and then right click, hit copy, and then if I were to drop a line down here and I were to right click on this and hit paste, then it's going to paste the same line that we just had that we copied. And I'm going to do the same thing down here by hitting enter and then hitting paste just like this. So I'm also going to delete these lines right here so that it's not getting in the way of the script. So when we have our variable like this, we go to the game, hit play, and we should see the output is 100 being printed 3 different times because it's using the same variable that's referencing this data type 100. If we hit stop and we go back to our script and then change this one value to let's say 50, then we go back to the game and hit play, then we should see the output is 50 being printed every single time. We only have to change this one value to affect all 3 of these print statements rather than having to change each individual print statement to change that one value. That's a very basic way of how to explain how variables work inside Studio, and this is going to be very important for us to understand later down the line. Now, there's a certain naming convention that I would like you to use, and that's basically how we write these variables. So usually what I do is what's called camel case, and so I basically have the first letter of the first word be in lowercase, and then have the first letter of every other word be in uppercase, while the rest of it is just in lowercase. So if I were to extend this even further, I could say my variable is 50, just like this. This is how we create the variable. Now, as you can see down here, these print statements are throwing an error saying unknown global my variable, and that's because we no longer have a variable that we created called my variable is 50. So what we need to do is update these variables to say my variable is 50. And as you can see, Roblox is recommending us to use this variable here. So if we want to complete this rather than type the whole thing out, we can just type in tab, and Roblox is going to add this in for us. And we can do the same thing here as well. So we select this and say it's 50, then we just hit tab, and Roblox is going to correct it for us. So it's 50, and then just like that, we have our variable in here. So we hit play, then we can still see that the output is printing the value 50 after referencing our variable my variable is 50. So that's the basics of using variables inside the script. What I want you to do for today's learning objective is to create more variables and set them equal to different data types. So it doesn't have to just be numbers. It can also be booleans, and it can also be strings. So I want you to have these references down and be able to print them inside of the output right here. And be able to make print statements to print them effectively so we can show them inside the output. So I want you to try and do that for this learning objective. And once you do, I want you to go to the comment section and show what you did for this challenge, since I do look at all the comments for my videos. So it'll be very nice to see what you're doing for this episode as we go through this tutorial.
Okay, guys. I need to go to the toilet because my stomach is rumbling. So I'll see you guys later, okay? Take a little bit of rest. It's only been 20 minutes. It's not that long. I'm gonna keep going. I need to go to the toilet first. See you guys. I'm gonna try to edit this, okay? You. I'm back, guys. I'm back. Let's continue.
Welcome back to my Roblox Video Scripting Tutorial Series. My name is
Wait, what?
Welcome back to my Roblox Video Scripting Tutorial Series. Welcome back to my Roblox Video Scripting Tutorial Guide. My name is Roblox, and in this episode we'll be discussing about data types. So in the last episode, welcome back to my Roblox Video Scripting Tutorial Series. My name is Roblox. I had an easier way to do this, and that would simply just be replace. So going to each basically have the 50 that the output is printing the value effectively, so we can show them inside the output. So I want you to try and do that for this learning objective.
Okay.
Welcome back to my Roblox Video Scripting Tutorial Guide. My name is Roblox, and in this episode we'll be discussing about properties. So as a reminder, within the past few episodes, we've been able to change properties of objects within the game with this properties window right here on the right side. So if we were to select one of these parts that we have over here, let's say this one, then it's going to be highlighted on the workspace, and it's also going to show the properties window down here. That's going to show all the properties, configurations, and attributes that we can change for this part, so that the changes are reflected inside the game, so we can see it for ourselves. For example, if we change the brick color, so if I select this and I pick a random color from this color wheel right here, let's say yellow, then it's going to reflect those changes onto the game, and it's also going to change the value of this property inside the properties window. So this is something you can do while we are in Studio using this properties panel. But what if I told you we can actually change these properties inside the script while the game is running. So when we're changing these properties, we can only do them while we are inside Studio before the game is actually running. But if we're doing this inside the script, we can change these properties whenever we want to while the game is running. So that's the power of being able to use scripts to change properties within them while the game is running. So now we understand that. Well, actually, first of all, what I'm going to do is undo this change for the brick color that I did. And I'm just going to hit Control Z. So that's basically going to undo my last previous change. And this is a shortcut I use a lot. If you also prefer to, you can go on the top left and click these arrows that redoes your action and also undoes your action. So that's just a little quick thing I want to add before we start scripting. So now let's add our own script. What we're going to do is go on the right side and we're going to click on our variables script that we created in the last episode, and we're going to hit disable. We're going to uncheck the enable property, and what we're going to do is click the plus sign next to workspace, and we're going to search up a script, and let's insert another script. Let's also rename the script. So I'm going to select this, right click and hit rename to properties, and hit enter. Okay, so now we have that. Just like scroll in if you want to view more clearly, and I'm just going to select everything inside here and then hit backspace. So here's the first thing we need to do. We need to be able to locate a specific object within the game that we want to change its property for. And this can be inside the workspace, but it can also be inside any of these other places within the game. But just for simplicity's sake, what we're going to be doing is essentially locating this huge part, this huge gray part that's called the base plate inside the workspace, and we're going to change the properties of this base plate within our script. So what we need to do is actually locate this base plate within our script before we can change the properties of this base plate. And here's how we're going to do it. So remember how I showed you how this game is basically structured in this sort of hierarchy, where we basically start with the game, and then these folders all make up one game, and then we find whatever is contained within each folder to then locate the objects that we're looking for. So the way we do this is if we go back to script, we first need to specify the game's game model that basically makes up the entire game itself. So in all lowercase, what we're going to do is type game, and it's going to be highlighted in blue to let you know that this is the game
Okay. I need to chill out here.
data model. So the way we do this is if we go back to script, we first need to specify the game's data model that basically makes up the entire game itself. So in all lowercase, what we're going to do is type game, and it's going to be highlighted in blue to let you know that this is the game data model. And the way we traverse or like go through this hierarchy is by separating each object with a period or a dot. And then what we're going to search after this is the
Oh, simple. Simple.
folder that we're looking for. So we're going to say workspace like this. And then if we want to locate even further, we're going to do is put in a period, and then we're going to look for our base plate, which is inside the workspace. So we're going to say base plate just like this. So this is how we locate objects within the game. We specify the game data model, and then we traverse through each object with a period, so we find the object we're looking for. And then what we're going to do is get a property of base plate that we want to change. So if we were to go back
Oh, I can open the documentation. I see. I see. This documentation will help a lot.
Back to the game and select the base plate that's outside the explorer, we can now select a property that we want to change inside of this base plate. So for instance, let's say we want to change the transparency. What we're going to do is go back to our script and we're going to add another period and we're going to say transparency like this. And if we want to set this to something different, we're going to say equals and then whatever value we want to have on the right side. So what we're going to put down here is probably a value that's not zero, so we can actually see it. Let's put it at 1. And this is basically how
Okay, let's see if this works or not. Brick color expected. Got string. Oh, brick color expected. Okay. I don't think I can do this.
how we change a property of an object within the game. So now if we go into the game, hit test and hit play, then what we should see within the game as soon as we join in is the base plate's transparency is now 1. So it looks very clear compared to if we were to go back into studio, because as soon as we join into the game, this script fired and it made the changes like we want to see within this base plate. So if we hit stop, then what's going to happen is we're just going to see that the base plate is back to normal again, because this change only happens if the game is running. So that's basically
Hmm.
how we change it in the game as soon as we join in is the base plate's transparency is now 1. So it looks very clear compared to if we were to go back into studio, because as soon as we joined into the game, this script fired and it made the changes like we want to see within this base plate. So if we hit stop, then what's going to happen is we're just going to see that the base plate is back to normal back into studio, because as soon as we joined into the game, this script fired and it made the changes like we want to see within this base plate. So if we hit stop, then what's going to happen is we're just going to see that the base plate is back to normal again, because this change only happens if the game is running. So that's basically how we change one property of the base plate. We can change another one by doing the exact same thing we did before. So we drop a line and then locate the base plate, so we can say game.
Huh? Oh, best. Oh, best plate is this. Oh. Oh, that is one location, and this is best plate. Oh, okay, okay. That is spawn location, not best plate. Okay, I see.
Dot workspace dot base plate. If we want to change the material instead, let's say what we can do is say dot material equals, and we can and there's a lot of materials we can choose from. If we basically go to this drop down that's over on the right side, and we hit the drop down, there's a lot of materials we can choose from. We can select any one of these materials we want. So let's say we want to use brick. What we can do is in double quotations, since these are strings, or at least we can use strings to change the material. We're just going to put in double quotations and we're going to say brick just like this. And we're also going to change the transparency to something different so we can actually see
Mm, let's try leather. Then. Leather is very. Oh, marble should be like this.
The base plate material, we're just going to set the
But why it doesn't work? Hmm. Am I stupid? This plate dot material is marble. Let's make it like asphalt first. Okay. Asphalt is simple. It should be like marble now. Hmm. Doesn't work. Not marbly like. Or maybe the transparency. Oh, it's the transparency. I see. I see.
to 0.25, so it's very easily noticeable, but not completely okay. So if we go to the game, hit play, then we can see our changes inside of the base plate. And as you can see, it now has a brick material, and it has a transparency of 0.25, so it's only a fourth of its transparency versus opaqueness, as you want to start like that. So that is how you change the properties within an object in the game. Now we can further make this more readable by adding a variable to the game's base plate. So what we can do is drop two lines at the beginning of the script, so we can add a reference to the base plate. So what we're going to do is say local base plate, and once again you can name this base plate or you can name this variable whatever you want, it doesn't really matter. Equals game.workspace.base plate, just like this. And so now we can do is replace these references to the base plate with just base plates like this. So I'm going to select each one of these references, and I'm just going to replace it with base plate, and it should basically do the exact same thing. If you go to the game and look at the base plate, then yeah.
Need to stop pressing Control S. It's a habit. Nice. You see? Habit. Okay.
The changes have been reflected to our property changes that we made inside the script. So I'm going to hit stop. And finally, another data type we can change is, let's say, cast shadow, since this is a boolean type. What we can do is say base plate.cast shadow equals false, because by default it's set true. Now you can't really see the change that much inside here with cast shadow because it would be effective if we were to see it on the bottom, but we're not really seeing the bottom of that. So there's no point in testing it, but this is another thing we can change here. So with that being said, that's basically going to be for this episode with properties. What I want you to do for today's learning objective is to change more properties with the base plate, or you could use one of your parts that you created in previous episodes to rename the part inside of the Explorer and then make a reference to that part so that you can change the properties of that part within the game. And once you do that, I want you to take your code, go down to the comment section of the video, paste it so that other people can see what you've been doing with the challenges. If you're comfortable sharing it, of course, and that is basically going to be for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next episode.
Okay. Oh, I want to try to change the every color to like crimson, but it doesn't. I should be able to do it. Like if I change the color into, oh, not best plate, not best plate. I see. It's spawn location with color. Eh, best plate is best plate. Make it crimson. Split color even. How to change the color? Hmm. Yeah, I don't know what's the difference between the small and the big R, but I think it's fine. Returns a random red color. Maybe I can assign this to a variable. Mm. Mm. You can assign both. Okay. I think it's just the same then.
So, take care. Welcome back to my Roblox video trading story guide. My name is Roldan, and this episode we'll be discussing functions. Now, once again, this is going to be another very fundamental concept in scripting that you will be using a lot inside of your scripts. So, with that being said, what we're going to do on the right side first is we're going to disable our property script that we created in the last episode. So, I'm going to select it and click on disable. And what I'm going to do is hit the plus sign next to workspace, search up a script. So, we're going to enter. Instead, what we're going to do on the right side first is we're going to disable our property script that we created in the last episode. So I'm going to select it and click on disable. And what I'm going to do is hit the plus sign next to workspace, search up a script. So we're going to enter one of these, and we're going to rename the script. So I'm going to click it and rename. We're going to call this one functions. Enter just like this. And now we have our new script for our functions. So what I'm going to do is like this. And before I introduce you what a function is, let me present with you a scenario. So let's say I wanted to take the game's base plate and repeatedly change one properties, like let's say the transparency, for example. What I'm going to do is go to our script, and we're first going to make reference to this base plate like we did in the last episode. So what I'm going to do is say local, and then we're going to put in a variable name, and this can be whatever you want. But I'm just going to say my base plate equals game.workspace.baseplate like this. And I'm going to change the transparency property of the base plate. So I'm going to say my base plate.transparency equals 1. Now, if I want to copy this and paste it 2 more times, then what I'm going to do is select this line, and we can actually copy it by right clicking and hitting copy. Now, the shortcut we can do is type in control, click Control, and then C for cat, and then we drop a line down here, and then we just paste it by holding down control and typing V for violin just like this. And it's going to paste it in just like that. So then we can replace this with 0.5, and we can drop one more line, hit control V, and then we can paste this to be 0. So these are the 3 lines of code that we have over here. But what if I presented to you a scenario where we basically copy these 3 lines, so we copy this by hitting control C, and then dropping down 2 lines by hitting control V. Now we have 6 lines of code where we change transparency. And if I do this again, then we have 9. And if we keep on going like this, then we're going to have a lot of transparency changes to this baseplate. So we're using 3 lines of code to change the transparency of the baseplate for each block that we do here. But what if I told you, there's a much better way to do this, and a much more efficient way to do this, and that is by using what's called a function. Now, basically what a function is it's a piece of code that basically contains multiple lines of code that executes just by calling it in one line. It may not make sense to you unless I show you. So what I'm going to do is repeatedly press this undo button so that we can backtrack. Now we can also hold control Z to do the exact same thing, Z and 0. And now we're back here with 3 lines of code. So what I'm going to do is after we make reference to our baseplate, what I'm going to we're gonna hit space, and we're going to put in the keyword function in all lowercase so that we know that this is a function that we're creating, and then we can name this function whatever we want this to be. So we can call this, let's say, change transparency like this, and what we need to do is add in the opening close parentheses just like this, and now we're going to select the right side, so we're going to click on this, and we're going to hit enter. Now, as you can see, Roblox has automatically added in this end keyword for us, and there's like this little indentation that's going on right here. So if we type something, then it's going to be indented a little bit so that it'll show that whatever we type inside here is going to be inside of this change transparency function. Now, what we can do from here on out is basically take these pieces of code, these 3 lines, and I'm actually going to cut this line code. So what I'm going to do is hit Control X so that it's safe for clipboard, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit Control V to paste the code inside of this function to the base plate. And that's because we only created the function, but now we actually need to call this function. So what we need to do is hit stop and go back to our function script. What we need to do is actually call this change transparency function, and we simply just need to say change transparency open close parentheses just like this. So basically, what we have going on right here, we just simply paste it down here just like this. Now, in order for us to really see this change, what we need to do is change this further because by default, the base plate transparency already is 0. So what we can do is basically copy this line, so Control C and then Control V down here, and I'm also going to copy this line, so I'm going to hit Control C and then I'm going to hit enter and hit Control V. So now we have these 5 lines of code right here. Once again, hit play, and now we should see in the base plate is that it is indeed transparent after going through all these different lines of code. So now we can basically repeatedly call the same change transparency function by going down here and hitting change transparency just like this, and it'll basically act the same way as if we were to copy these 5 line of code, drop 2 lines, and then do just like this. So this is the equivalent
Yes.
of this over here. And this is a much better way of writing our scripts, and it's definitely
I'm so tired too.
going to focus on organization and optimization for the future when we work on working scripts. So now what
Roblox.
I'm going to do is make another function example. So what I'm going
This is simple.
to do is basically select everything and delete it. A shortcut we can use is hitting
No, but it's simple.
Control A as an apple. So we can select everything that's inside the script and we can backspace delete it. So now what I'm going to do is make another function. I'm just going to say local function, let's say print ABC, open close parentheses just like this. I'm going to hit enter. So I'm just going to print statements like this. And now because why not? ABC, open close parentheses, ABC, and then finally do it one last time, which is A, B, and C. So I hope you're able to understand how these functions work and how this is going to be useful inside future episodes. So that's welcome back to my Roblox video scripting tutorial guide. Welcome back to my Roblox video scripting tutorial guide. My name is Robin, and this episode will be discussing about functions. Now once again, this is going to be another very fundamental concept in scripting that you will be using a lot. And it's because we called ABC one time, which is going to go through ABC, and then it's going to do the same thing again with ABC, and then finally do it one last time, which is A, B, and C. Like let's say if we were to take one of these parts, and if we were to let's say change the material to something that's different every single time, or if we were to basically change one of these other properties to be something different, then you can go ahead and do that. And once you do that, then I want you to go to the comment section and paste in your code so that other people can see what you're doing. And so that's basically going to be something different, then you can go ahead and do that. And once you do something that's different every single time, or if we were to basically change one of these other properties to be something different, then you can one objective is to create more functions that do different things. Like let's say if we were to take one of these parts, and if we were to let's say change the material to something that's different every single time, or if we were to basically change one of these other properties to be something different, then you can go ahead and do that. And once you do that, then I want you to go to the comment section and paste in your code so that other people can see what you're doing. And so that's basically going to conclude this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Take
Okay, let me try something. Oh no 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 no. I will make a block. I will make a part like this. Get it to be a little bit bigger. And big box. Oh, I can make it launch. I can make it launch. Um, I can make a block launch. Lounge. Lounge. Big box. Oh, this big box have assembly linear velocity. Oh, up. So this is the X. And if I make it 100, then it should launch. Okay, okay. It launch. It launch. Mm. Okay.
Take care. Welcome back to my Roblox video tutorial guide. My name is Rolf, and this episode we'll be talking about 4 things that all link to each other to make this one video. Those being math, parameters, arguments, and return statements. We're going to go through each of them one by one inside this episode, and it's going to be one of the more important episodes, so I really want you to pay attention to this episode. So first thing we're going to start with is learning about math. Now, I'm going to assume that you know like the basics of math with operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, all those sort of things. Decide and disable our function script, and we're going to go through the same thing, which is a plus sign in the workspace, searching for a script.
Great. Math.
Script, we're going to insert that, and then we're going to rename this script. So right click on it and rename to math, enter, just like that. Okay, and I'm also going to delete this same right here, so I'm going to hit Control A and delete just like this. So when we're working with math, so in this case it's going to be basic operations like addition, subtraction, all those other things. We basically take 2 numbers and we do the operation that we specify in between those 2 numbers, and we can do this by having a variable if we want that to be the case. If we put 2 and we into the statement, so we're going to say print open parentheses, and we throw in addition over here just like this, and we go to the game hit play, then we should see the output is the number 4. So if we click on it, we can see that if we put 2, that is the basics using math, so we hold Shift 8. So that's the basics script that was created. And I'm going to for the next 2 things we're going to be talking about, which is going to be parameters and functions. So what I'm going to do is go back to our game, and I'm actually going to disable our new math script that we just created, and I'm going to re-enable our function script over here. So this is the script we created in the last episode. Now, if you remember how a function is created, we basically have a local keyword with the function declaration right here, and then the name of the function over here, and then we have open close parentheses. So what's interesting about these open close parentheses is that we can add parameters inside of these open close parentheses, so we can use whatever's contained inside of these parameters in this function to get different results depending on what we use to call this function. We have to add 2 numbers. It may sound confusing to you at first, but once we use this in practice, it'll make more sense. So what I'm going to do is delete everything that we had in script so far. So hit backspace like this, and we're going to create. So I'm going to select right down here. So the calculation we do is number 1 like this. Side here, so we can make, or we can call it now print our results. Very out here is if we go to 5 and is that parameter calculation that we're going to create, which is 5, and the second argument for number 2, which is 2. We add them together and then print out the results. I hope this makes sense to you so far. It's a very important concept you need to know about. And this is a trick to just numbers. You can literally put in any values you want inside here. So this could be let's say a string, which is going to be whatever it is, or it could be a boolean as well. It doesn't really matter what it is, as long as the calculations are accurate, because obviously you can't calculate a string plus a number, but you also can't calculate a boolean plus a number as well. So you have to make sure that whatever you pass inside here is accurate to your calculations that you try to make. And I hope this makes sense to you. We can even do this multiple times by dropping a line and then calling the addition function again. So we can put in let's say 3 as the first number and then 2 as the second number, and we can even add another addition function right here, which is let's say 9 for the first number and then 4 for the second number. If we go to the game and hit play, then we should see the output is different result when it comes to adding these inside the functions when we make them inside. It's going to go back into where we call this function. Now I don't know if that completely makes sense to you, but if I showed you through scripting, then I think you'll be able to understand better. So what I'm going to do is delete these function calls to make this more simple. And instead of printing this result value, what I'm actually going to do is return this result once we calculate what number 1 plus number 2 is. Same thing. Well, we return the results of the calculation we created back to where we call this function. So what we can do is create a variable that's attached to this function call so that we can take that value and then print it ourselves outside of this function. So what we're going to do is say global. We can call this print result just to make this just to differentiate this between this result, and we're going to set this equal to the function itself. So we're going to say addition, open close parentheses, and we can put in whatever 2 numbers we want inside here. So we're going to say 8, and then for the second number we're going to say 2 just like this, as we separate the commas. And this is basically how we get the results. If by calling this function, and then once we add these 2 numbers, we return the results. So it's going to go back into here, and that's what print result is going to be set equal to. So now if we go down here and then write our print statement with print results just like this. If we go to the game, hit play, then we should see the output is 10 because we did exactly what the script is supposed to do. Return statements. So we create a variable outside, we set this equal to addition with our 2 numbers right here. These 2 numbers are then added, and then we use this return statement to return the result back to the print result.
Thank you.
So we're printing that result, and that is how we use return statements inside Roblox here. I hope this makes sense to you so far. And if it has, this is one of the more difficult things to learn about. So I can commend you if you've been able to follow along up to this point. So now what we're going to do is hit stop, and that is basically going to be this episode. Now I want you to keep in mind that up to this point we haven't really been saving our work. It is very important to save our work after we do anything important so that we don't lose any progress. So I'm going to go hit file, and we're going to hit save to file. Now you can also hit Control S for snake so that we can save our game whenever we change the game. So that's one more thing I want to add before we get done with this video. For today's learning objective, what I want you to do is make more functions. So I want you to make a function for subtraction. You can do multiplication and division as well, or you can even add more numbers to add as well. So you can have another parameter right here, so number 3, and you can do more calculations like dividing number 3 or something. There's a lot of possibilities you can have with this. You can add more parameters. You can make more functions that return results or don't return results. You have a lot of capabilities and leeway for this learning objective. So I hope you make something really great out of this learning objective. And once again, go down to the comments to finish and paste in whatever code you made so other people can see what you've been doing and share. So that
Okay. 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay. Okay. 3. Nice. So guys, I'm not talking much because there is not much I can talk about. I'm actually quite sleepy right now. Studying is pretty sleepy if there is nothing new. I've been studying this for a while, like this coding stuff. So this is the simple stuff. I will be getting to the advanced stuff soon, but not right now. I will keep going through the beginner scripting, and I'll just blast through it. Let's just continue, I guess.
welcome back to my Roblox video tutorial series. My name is Rolf, and this episode we'll be discussing about if statements. We're also going to be talking about else if statements and also else statements since they all tie to the same concept. So the first thing we're going to do is go on the right side and we're going to disable any previous script we've made in the past couple episodes. So the one that's currently active is my function script. So I'm going to welcome back to my Roblox beginner scripting tutorial series. My name is Roldev, and in this episode we'll be discussing about if statements. But we're also going to be talking about else if statements and also else statements since they all tie to the same concept. So the first thing we're going to do is go on the right side and we're going to disable any previous script we made in past episodes. So the one that's currently active is my function script. So I'm going to disable this, and I'm going to insert a new script inside the workspace, plus sign, inserting a script and inserting a script inside the workspace. I'm going to select this, right click, and I'm going to rename it to if statements just like this, enter. And I'm also going to X out these tabs for these scripts just to make things more organized. And I'm also going to zoom in control and moving inverse so we can see that. And now we have our process for what we're talking about this episode. Okay, now if statements. It's one of the concepts that we need to know when it comes to adding logic to our scripts. If we want to have a structure of executing specific codes if conditions are met. So what I'm talking about here with conditions is we're going to start with a if keyword lowercase, so it goes like this. And when we're making a conditional statement, it's tied to a boolean value to determine if a condition either returns true or either returns false. So an example I can give you is if we were to see if 2 plus 2 equals 4, which obviously is true, but if we were to type 2 say 2 plus 2 equals 4, just like this, then we have a true boolean to be returned with this condition. Now you can see errors here, and you want to know what this is all about. We can't use a single equal sign. We're trying to compare two numbers together. So 2 equals 4 equals 4, because this single equal sign is supposed to be an assigning operator. We're trying to essentially set what is on the left side, 2 what is on the right side. But if we're just doing a comparison, then what we need to do is add another equal sign just like this to make it a comparison operator and not an assigning operator. And so what we do this, then what we do on the right side is say then, just like this. So if 2 plus 2 equals 4, then what we're going to do is enter. And we're also going to add an end keyword at the enter. So basically, if 2 plus 2 equals 4, then we can run the left side of this right. So we're going to write a statement saying that 2 plus 2 does equal to 4. Just like this. So now we go into the game and test and play. Then what we should see in the output is that 2 plus 2 does indeed equal 4. Now let me tell you what happens if this is not equal 4. So if I stop and I go back to the script, and if I say if 2 plus 3 is equal 4, in this case it's not true because 2 plus 3 is 5. If we go to the game and play, then what we should see in the output is nothing printed because 2 plus 3 does not equal 4. That's why it basically skips this line. So it's not going to print out the statement. So if I stop again, and now that's basically how we have our first branch statement. But there's more we can add on top of this. And the next branch I can show you is else. So basically what we're going to do is inside our block of code we have here, we're going to drop 2 lines like this, 81 lines in there, and we're going to backspace so that we have proper here. So now we can we're going to say else do this, and we're going to hit enter. So then we're going to do is add another statement like this, saying the if statement failed, just like this. So what's going to happen here is if we check if 2 plus 3 equals 4 and it is not true, then it's going to go down to the else statement and it's going to print out whatever is inside this block of code here. So we go to the game and play, then what we should see is that the if statement failed because we tried checking if 2 plus 4
Patient, my guy.
So as we do the else statement, and what's the next line is you need to have the else keyword line up with the if statement. It can't be over here, and most certainly cannot be over here. It has to line up with the if statement, and you need to have each branch be indexed
Yeah,
with
I'm
this
scared that
branch of the if statement.
that
That is
happens.
basically how we add an else statement. But now
That's why I run slow.
basically another if statement that gets checked if the first if fails. So basically what's going to do is we're going to drop 2 lines in here, and we're going to backspace so that we line up with anything else pattern. So we're going to say else if, just like this. This is one word else if. We're going to say if 2 plus 2 equals to 4, and then we're going to enter. And now we can do here is say print both parentheses. 2 plus 2 does actually equal to 4 here. Just like differentiate a little bit. So we first start with a statement. So 2 plus 3 does not equal 4, so we're going to skip this. And if we go down here, check if 2 equals 4. This is true, so it's going to print a statement. And if we skip the else because we know that it's true, so we're going to play. Then we can see now that 2 plus 2 does actually equal 4 here. So that is our if statement structure going on here. That I think will be extremely, extremely useful. Now we can add more else statements if we want to here. So we draw a line and go down here. We write another else here saying if 1 plus 1 equals to 2, then we can print 1 plus 1 does equal to 2, just like this. And also changes something so that we can make sure that this one passes correctly. So if we like, then we can see if 1 plus 1 does equal to 2. So if we stop and go back to script, we can see how this applies because we start here, it doesn't work. We then go here, and then go here, it does work. So then it prints a message, and it basically skips the else if nothing works. The only time we go to the else is if all of these statements did not work. So you can understand the structure going on here, and it's really very important to understand if a certain criteria or condition is met, then we're going to execute a specific part of the code and not execute other parts of the code if we don't need that. Now this is useful for functions that we create in preset. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to select everything here, so we hit Control A, and I'm going to hit backspace. So now what we're going to do is create our addition function just like we did in preset. So saying global function addition of parentheses, and we're going to pass in 2 arguments. So the first argument is going to be number 1, we're going to start with the comma, and we're going to have number 2 as a second parameter. So we hit enter, and then what we're going to do is have our if statement structure inside this addition function. So we can print stuff depending on what the result is from this. So what we're going to do is write a result variable saying global result equals number 1 plus number 2 just like this, and then we're going to drop a line here, and we're going to make if statement. So we're going to say if result equals 4. So once again, make sure you're using 2 equal signs, not 1 equal signs. We're comparing these together rather than assigning a variable. So we're going to say then we're going to make a statement by saying the result is equal to 4, and then we're going to make an else statement by saying else if result equals 2 plus say 6, then we're going to make a statement by saying the result is equal to 6 just like this. And if all these fail, then we're just going to write an else statement and make sure that the alignment is correct here. So we say else, and we're going to say print none of these results add up, just like that. And so now we're going to call this addition function down here by saying addition of parentheses. So first we're going to add is 2, 2, so it's going to fall in this branch, and then we're going to make another addition of here, and we're going to put 3 and 3 just like this, and then we're going to make another addition of saying 4 and 2, so both of these are going to fall in this one, and then we're going to make an addition of 4 out of something 10. So now what will happen is we go to the game and play, and we should see output is the result is equal 4, so we check 2, 2, which in this case is true. Then we check 4, 3, 3, which does equal to 6, and then finally 4, 2, which also equals 6. So we printed this twice. And then obviously 10, 10, that equals 20, which should see output is the result is equal 4, so we check 2, 2, which in this case is true. Then we check 4, 3, 3, which does equal to 6, and then finally 4, 2, which also equals 6. So we printed this twice. And then obviously 10, 10, that equals 20, which didn't fall into any addition. So we went into the else statement saying that none of these results add up. So this is how you add if statements to our functions, and you
Oh, there is something interesting there. Hmm. Hmm.
you probably know what add this script. Now we know that we use conditions to execute code when it needs certain requirements. So once you and that is essentially the end of understanding things. One final thing I want to mention here is understanding what happens if you have two if statements. So I'm actually going to delete this else and else if statement. We're just going to select these two and hash statement again. So now we have if statement. So if we say if result equals 2 4, then we're going to first statement by saying basically the same over here. So I'm going to copy both integers and control C, and then I'm going to select this and control V like this. And I'm also going to get rid of these three conditional here. Just have this one. So now the game play. Then we just take the result is equal to 4 being printed out twice because we don't have a script. Then it's first going to check if the result is equal to 4, then it does this. But then if we go down here to check again if the result is equal to 4, then the result is equal to 4. Now obviously it doesn't have to be this condition specifically, it doesn't have to be the same condition, but it has to be two different statements that meet the requirement of whatever this condition is to then execute both of these code blocks. So that's important about using these statements is that if you have multiple if statements, it's going to check for each of these statement blocks. So if you have if else and else structure, it's only going to fall under one of those code blocks. And all that makes sense. So that's basically the first statement. You basically have a lot of power what you want to do with these statements, functions, and all those sorts of things. So I want you to clear this before you go to the next code and see what you can come up with. And once you do that, then I'll give you the function and code, the function and watch these as well. And with that being said, I will see you in the next one. Take care. We'll have my Roblox experience and this is what we're discussing about scoping. Now, this is something another one has to be known about. And before I move to explain
Okay, what is scoping?
to you, what we're going to do is first we'll decide what script we want to create
Is this new?
accesses. Instead of creating a script, we're actually going to go back to our creating script creating the last episode, and we're going to do actually everything we had all the scripts and everything, and the backspace is everything. And first, we're really talking about scoping. Now, in order to explain what scoping is and why it's useful, we're first going to write a variable that is equal to something in the game. So what we're going to do is say, well, let's say my amazing base plate surface. We're going to set this equal to base plate located in the game. So we're going to say game.workspace.baseplate.surface, and now we have a variable that's attached to the base plate. Now, we also import functions as well. So we're going to do and write a function. We say global function, and we just say my race function, multiple parentheses, select right side and enter this. This is how we create a function. This is how we create a variable. Now, why am I having variables? Well, the purpose of this episode is how we understand this keyword here, local, and what the significance of this keyword entails. Now, we need to explain to you the importance of scoping. We'll try to create a variable. So I want you to imagine that when we're working with scripts, we have all these different variables on board. So we're creating new variable saying, well, my big number is equal to, let's say, 500,000 something. This is not 500,000, this is 500,000. So we're going to have a variable like multiple times like this variable. We just copy it and go back and paste it, and keep doing that, and change these variables to be like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have all these different variables that we just created, and now we have access to these variables all throughout the entire script. We're actually this is a very optimized strategy to make variables, especially when you don't need to use variables throughout the entire script. The reason that's important is because if this script is allowing us to have access to these variables throughout the entire script, then that leads to automation for Roblox backend when trying to make a game run very well. Also for security reasons as well. You don't need to access the variable throughout the entire script, but instead you need to access the variables in specific screen, and now we have access to these variables all throughout the entire script. What actually that is a very optimized strategy to make variables, especially when you don't need to use variables throughout the entire script. The reason that's important is because if this script is allowing us to have access to these variables throughout the entire script, then that leads to automation for Roblox backend when trying to make a game run very well. Also for security reasons as well. You don't need to access the variable throughout the script, but instead you need to access the variables in specific parts of the script. So the example I give is inside a function. So I'm going to delete these variables right here, and what I'm going to do is create a new variable inside of our function. So with this function, I'm going to say global true statement equals true. So we have a global variable called true statement. Who's that true is legally data. So when we draw a line down here in the first statement by saying true statement, just like this, then obviously we go to the game and play. Then we should see the output is we're supposed to call every function first. So quickly, go to the game and play. Then we should see the output is indeed true because we created a true statement variable saying true print that. Now here's the catch here. So if I stop and go inside our statement and I move this print statement outside of here, so right statement, control X copy the and I drop 2 lines out here and then paste it. Then I can see we're crossing an area. So this says unknown global true statement. Because when we're working with scoping, we have to worry about global variables and we also have to worry about global variables. Global variables allows us to access variables either within the entirety of the script or a variable that we access outside the script in other scripts. So that's the importance of understanding how scoping works because we created this global variable called true statement inside of this function. So this variable can only be accessed within this function and can't be accessed outside this function. If you try to access true statement outside the function, then you just say that Roblox doesn't know any variable true statement because it's only within the scope of this function. Now if I were to take this true statement direction, so if I control X and then move up here, hit control V, then it's only down here that there's no longer an error because we know that true statement is now declared up here that's not pertaining to any specific code block within our script. So that's the importance of understanding scoping. And if I highly recommend for the most part, when you're writing your variables, then you should have this global here. So I wouldn't find any reason to make global variables. Basically, global variables is you took off the global modifier like this, and it would just say true statement equals true. I would highly prefer not variables like this because when you use global variables, it only is tied to specific bits of the code that you need to access this variable. And also, sure, if you try to create a global variable that function doesn't work, especially code block within our script. So that's the importance of understanding scoping. And I highly recommend for the most part, when you're writing your variables, that you should have this global here. So I wouldn't find any reason to make global variables. Basically, global variables is you took off the global modifier like this, and it would just say true statement equals true. I would highly prefer not variables like this because when you use global variables, it only is tied to specific bits of the code that you need to access this variable. And also, sure, if you try to create a global variable that function doesn't work, especially if it has a global modifier like this. So if I were to say my new variable equals 10, then it's not going to work because it says that only a global variable can create that function. So that's what we're going to do. So now we're going to add more logic to our function inside here. So for add on to what I'm going to show you for scoping, what I'm going to do is create another variable here by saying local result is equal to let's say a nil value. Now I need to see what nil is. It's basically a nothing value. So it's actually a type that represents a value that doesn't exist. So this is what I want you to remind you that this result variable is a value that literally is nothing. So that's how we indicate a nothing value type. So now we're going to do something like saying if result is equal to nil, which obviously nil is equal to nil, nothing is equal to nothing. Then what we're going to do is create another variable. So we're going to say local result 1 equals true or something like that. So result 1 equals true. We're going to then print out the result 1 as this. And what we're going to do is if this is not nil, which obviously it is nil, but then it's not nil. So we're going to align our else keyword like this. And we're going to say local result 2. So we're creating another variable that says equals. And we're going to print result 2. So here's what's important here. I want you to get. When we traverse through this function, so result is equal to nil. So we're checking if result is equal to nothing. Then we're going to go down here and create a new variable called result 1 that can only be accessed within this block. This block. And if result is not equal to nil, then we're going to go back here and create a second result variable that can only be accessed within this scope. So if I were to try and print out what's down here, print result 1, then going to say that unknown global result 1 because once again, scoping is what's important to understand. We can only access where it was created, which is this code block inside this statement. And result 2 can only be accessed within this code block of where it was created. And so when you're running scoping, this is something to understand. And I hope that does make sense to you. And at least you understand how this works. One last simple example here is if I were to create a variable, like let's say global my second variable equals, let's say the string is going to be a string. Let's say this. If I were to make a print statement before we create a variable, so let's say print let's say my second variable is this, then it's not going to work because we need to be able to access this second variable after we create it. You can try to access a variable that hasn't even been created yet, which is why, again, scoping is what's important to understand. And I think these are all these examples I'm giving you in understanding scoping, and I hope you're able to take away the idea and concept and also important. So that being said, the first thing I want you to do is try and practice and familiarize yourself with the concept of scoping by creating variables, moving references around, and also just trying to let's say more statement inside here where you create even more variables and you try to access them in different parts of the script. I think that's enough practice to do that. So once you're done with that, then we're going to share your code and share people, and that's basically the system. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Welcome back to Roblox Engineering Source Series. I'm Jordan, and this is what we're discussing about operators. So just like I started every single story we do at this point, we're going to click on our script. So we create a so we're going to disable it, and then we're going to insert a script inside workspace like this, insert it, and then we're going to click and rename this to name. So we're going to operators like this, and then hit enter. And then we're going to click here. So now we can see what operators are. So in the last episode, we introduced two if statements, which basically allow us to check for specific conditions that need to be met before we execute specific parts of our script. So an example of this is if we write if, let's say true, then we're going to enter and write the same here saying this statement is true, this, and if we were to run this inside Studio, obviously it's going to print, so we go to gameplay, and it's going to say this statement is true, because what we did was this condition, we literally gave a boolean condition of true, so this automatically makes a statement. So that's the basis of using if statement. But now for the purpose of this episode, I'm going to be introducing to you a bunch of operators that can add more complexity to our conditionals, so we have very precise and effective comparisons that doesn't just restrict to one condition here. We have multiple conditions, and we can compare different things depending on what the operator we're using is. So basically, there's two types of operators I'm going to introduce to you, and the first one is going to be logical operators. So logical operators is what allows us to add more conditionals to the same if statement that we have here. So instead of having one conditional, we have more than one conditional to see if more than one condition is met before we go inside of the statement and tell what inside here. So the first logical operator that I'm going to show you is the operator called and. And basically what we're going to do is on the right side of true, we're going to use space, and then we're going to write all lowercase and then we can now put a second conditional on the right side of the same statement. So we're going to say let's say false in all lowercase. So this statement compares true and it also compares false. And in order for this statement to be valid for this conditional to be met, both the left conditional and the right conditional needs to be true. And in this case, because the left side is true, but the right side is not true, that means this statement actually is going to run because this conditional was invalid. So we're going to gameplay. Then what we should see is nothing inside the output because we told this statement that both the left and the right side needs to be true in order for this statement to be valid based on this and logical operator. So we can stop, and I'm going to do our script. I'm going to show you another logical operator called for. So what we're going to do is replace this and keyword with for like this. And basically what we're of these things is true, so then we move on to what the code is inside this if statement. So that is how we use and that's how we use for. Now, if we're going to make these inside a different example, we'll use numbers, and we'll do this. And let's say if 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, and if let's say on the right side, we say if 5 plus 5 is equal to 10. So this left side returns true is equal to 4, and this right side is going to return true is 5 plus 5 is equal to 10. So if we go to the game and play, then we'll say the output is this statement is true, and we pick stop and go back to script. And if we change this statement on the right side to 5 plus 6 is equal to 10. So in this case, it's not going to be true anymore. If we go to the game and play, then it's not going to return anything. Now, if we stop and go back to script and change this keyword to 4 instead of and, then only one of these statements is true. So we go back to the game and play, then we'll just say the output is this statement is true because 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, and that's all we know. Now, there's one more logical operator that I want you to know, and that is called not. And we actually don't put that in between two statements, but instead we're going to put this before one conditional statement. So what's going to look like is we're going to delete this code over here, and what we're going to do is say if not like this, and we're going to put a conditional after this one. So we're going to say if not true, then print factor. But basically what not does is it gives us the opposite of whatever this conditional statement is over here. So this true statement is actually going to return false because the not keyword gives us the opposite of true, so it's going to be false. So once again, like, then we'll just say the output is not because this actually printed false instead of true. Now we can stop and then go to our script and change this to false. Then it's going to return the opposite of false, which is true. So once again, play, then we'll just see is this statement is true. And now we can stop and make this into a numerical example. So we're going to do this, and what we're going to do is say if not 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, then we're going to say now obviously this statement is true, but because you have the not before it, it actually will return false. Now the thing that you can be careful about this is you actually have to put in parentheses inside of our expression. So let me show you how to do this. So I'm going to go to the script and play. It's going to show me output that it has to form and we're going to take on doing a number. And the reason it did this was so we stop and go to our script. It did this because it's reading this by saying if not 2. You can't compare not to a number. So what we need to do is insert parentheses like this so that we know that we're trying to compare this statement specifically. So 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, that's going to return true, but the not is hiding in front of it, so that's going to return false. So if we go to game play, what we'll see is this statement return false. So that is basically logical operators inside of Roblox Studio, and that is something important that we need to know about for our conditions. Now the next set of operators I'm going to teach you is what's called relational operators. And this has to do with the way we've been comparing conditional numbers, and this has to do with the way we've been comparing equations inside our conditions. So I'm just going to do everything we had in this point, and what I'm going to do is say if 2 plus 2 is equal to 4 is like this. So relational operators fall into what we've been doing with this comparison factor. So if 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, which is going to return true, this is one relational operator, which is the equals relational operator. But there's actually multiple different ways you can compare this relational operator that isn't just restricted to the equals. And there's actually 6 relational signs. I'm going to show you one by one. So the first one is the equal sign, and the next one I'm going to show you is the opposite of that, which is going to be not equals. And so basically what we're going to do is replace this first equal sign, so we're going to get back to this, and we're going to replace this with a squiggly line that looks like this. So I'm going to hold shift, and then we're going to hit this squiggly line. Now for me, it's located on the top. I'm going to show you the opposite of that, which is going to be not equals. And basically what we're going to do is replace this first equal sign, so we're going to get back to this, and we're going to replace this with a squiggly line that looks like this. So I'm going to hold shift, and I'm going to hit this squiggly line. Now for me, it's located on the top left keyboard, so I'm here to see it. But when you do make this squiggly line before the equal sign, this represents not equals. So if 2 plus 2 is not equal to 4, then it's going to print this statement over here. Now
Mm. Ooh, what the hell? Whoa. That's cool. There's an autocomplete like that. That's really cool. It's not this. Oh, it's just this.
now, this used to be true, but now this actually returns false because it's trying to say if 4 is not equal to 4, which is not true. So once again, play, then we should see the output is nothing because we're trying to say if 4 is not equal to 4, which is not true. How does 1 make sense? So now there's two more operators I'm going to show you. So I'm just going to delete these two lines right here. And what I'm going to do is say if 2 plus 2 is greater than 4. So greater than is indicated by this right arrow over here. Basically, if this number on the left side is greater than this number on the right side, then it's going to return a true statement. Now, obviously, this is not going to return true. So we add, let's say 2 plus 3 is equal to 4, so 3 is equal to 5. Then it's going to be greater than 4, so this is going to be true statement. So if the game play, we should see is this statement is true. So we can stop and then go back to our operator. And we can basically do the opposite by saying if 2 plus 3 is less than, so we put in a left arrow symbol before, there's on the right side. And this is going to compare if this is less than on the right side, which obviously is the case. 5 is not less than 4, so this is not going to be true. So if the game play, then we should not see anything else. So I'm going to stop once again, go back to script. And now there's two more relational operators I'm going to show you. So we learned out greater than, and we also learned out less than. But now we're going to say if this is greater than 4 equal to. So basically what this means is if this statement on the left side is greater than this statement on the right side, or if it's equal to on the right side, then it's going to make it true. So if I say 2 plus 2 is greater than 4, 2 plus 2 is not greater than 4, but it is equal to 4. So this statement is going to be true. And we do the same thing for less than symbol by replacing this greater than symbol with less than symbols like this. And this is going to compare if the left side is less than or equal to whatever's on the right side. Now, you want to be careful because a lot of people get this mixed up where they have the equal sign on the left side before the operator on the right side. So we can't say equals greater than this, like it's some symbol here, or less than this. You have to make sure that the operator is on the left side of the equal sign when you're comparing greater than equal to or less than or equal to. So that is the basics of using relational operators and logical operators in that script. And if there's some parts of the script that if there's some parts of the video that confuse you, then I encourage you to rewatch certain parts of the video so that you can nail down their head so that you can understand how adding operators and conditionals work inside of the script. So with that being said, for today's learning, what I want you to do is continue experimenting with adding more conditional statements by adding more operators inside conditional statements. So I add another and statement with 5 plus 10 is equal to 15, and you continue onward with what you want to add for conditionals. Now, another quick thing I want to mention is that you can have more than one logical operator inside your as well. So you have an and here, and you have or here with another conditional, and you have another and here with another conditional, and you just keep on going for as long as you want. So that's something else you can do with conditionals, and I recommend experimenting with adding logical and relational operators inside scripts. And once you know that, then once you go back to comments and Facebook, you feel sharing to everybody else so that everyone knows what you've done with these challenges as well as yourself. So that means that that's how we do it, and I will see you in the next episode. Take care. Go back to Roblox and and that's really discussing how to use. Once again, another very fun concept in scripting, but also programming in general that you need to know not only for game development, but also for web programming that you'll have anything past that. So as usual, we're going to do is on the right side, and we're going to disable or pre-script last episode, we're going to disable and create new scripts inside of Workspace just like this, and we're going to this too, and the episode which is loops and everything. I'm going to do this. And first thing I like to do is try and paint a scenario for you where we want to repeatedly execute the same piece of code over and over and over again. If we let's say have three statements saying print, let's say statement 1, and then we're going to another statement, statement 2, and then we can do another statement by saying statement, and then this is so that doesn't look like we do. But these alternative that works a lot better than what we do here, and that is called main loop. So what I'm going to do is select everything that we've created, we're going to hit Control A, opposite loop, and we stop over again, just like this. And what we do certain criteria, and we know how many times we want to execute this block code. So what we're going to do is write the 4 keywords like this, and we need to write a counter variable. So this can be whatever name we want it to be. For counter variable, we call this
Mm. So sleepy.
My counter is this. And what we need to do is set this equal to a initial value. So this is going to take three numbers. First one is going to be starting value. And say whatever starting value you want. I'm going to say 1, for example, and then we're going to start a comma. And then we need to put down an end value. So when is this going to stop? I'm going to say 5, for example. And then I'm going to write one more counter. And we're going to put down how much is this counter going to increment by whenever we reach the bottom of the floor. So this is going to be equal to 1 for this case. And what we're going to do instead of writing then, we're going to actually write the keyword do. So this. And then we're going to hit enter. And then what we're going to be putting down here is our statements that we had in the previous example.
Someone just called me. Oh, so in Roblox, it go through until the number from here. 1 to print 1 to 5. Let's do that now. 2, 1, 3, 5. Okay.
So it was print statement 1, and here, to increment the value of whatever this number is going to be 2. So now we're on second iteration. It's going to print 1, print 2, print 3, and it's going to go back again and increment this counter 3. Go back 1, 2, 3, and it's going to print 4, 1, 2, 3, and finally it's going to go to its fifth iteration 1, 2, 3, and it's going to stop. So we go to the game and it tests and play, and what you should see in the output is statement 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And so these statements are doing this, and then much time we started 1, and then we reach the last value of 5. And so once we've done that, it basically prints these three statements here 5 times. So the equivalent of this would be printing this out once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and 5 times. This loop is equal to doing this, and it's a much better way to go about this. And it's a very important one to know about when we want to repeatedly run the same commands over and over and over again. So that's how we use it. But there's actually another loop that is also important to know about, and this is called a while loop. Now, a while loop is basically used if we don't know how many times exactly we want to run this loop, but we do know that a certain condition needs to be met so that we can stop this while loop. So here's what we drop 2 lines, and what I'm going to do is this structure for a while loop is there. So what we need to do is first specify our counter variable separate. So we're going to create a variable using the local keyword. So we say, well, let's say my while counter is this, and we're going to set this equal to, let's say 1, so basically starting value here. And then what we're going to do is write down our while loop by saying while, and we have to write a condition here. So we can say that this condition is my while counter is, let's say, less than or equal to 5, just like this. And then what we're going to do is say do again at the end of this iteration, so hit enter. And what we're going to do is basically write down our first statement that we had in the previous example and paste it down here. Now, here's something we need to be extremely careful about, and that is implementing this value every single time that we go through this iteration. Because as we saw with this example, all we need to do was basically write down our statements, and then before we automatically increment the value by 1, we can specify here in the iteration. But down here, if we were to print, if we were to execute this while loop, then my while counter still remains at 1 because we never updated this value once we reached 1. So we started at 1 and then we got here for 1, 2, 3, it's still going to remain as 1, and it's never going to reach the criteria.
Uh, is eh.
So that's going to result remediation initially. But so basically taking the variable of my wild counter, we're going to draw a line and we're going to implement that. We're going to say my wild counter equals, we're going to take the value of my wild counter itself. So my wild counter plus 1. So basically taking the variable of my wild counter and setting it to whatever the value of my wild counter is, which is 1, and we're going to add 1 to it. So this is going to result in my wild counter equals 2 instead of 1. And then it's going to go all the way to the division where it's going to be equal 5, and then that's when it's going to stop. So what I'm going to do is go into game, hit play, and then we should see the output. Actually, we still have the previous one, so I'm going to delete what we have here really quick. So I'm going to do this, go to game, hit play, then we should see the output is same 1, 2, 3, 5 different times in the output, and basically it's already expected. So that is how we write for loop inside our script. I'm going to quickly control Z so we have for loop so you can see it comparing the while statement. Now there's a couple things I want to show. Like we can actually decrement our counter. So if we let's say start at 5 and then we want the goal to be going back to 1 and we make the increment value by -1, and we actually go backwards, but it's essentially using things. So if I were to delete this while statement right here and go to the game and play, then we should see the output is 5 different percentages. Again, addressing this for loop right here, we're going to say 1, 2, 3, except this time it's going backwards. So starting at 5 and it's going to go down here and it's going to be decremented by -1. So then it's going to be 4 and it's going to go down here, 3 go down here, 2 go down here, and 1 go down here, and finally it's going to stop for loop. So you can make your loops go backwards as well, which is another important thing. You can basically do the same thing with while loops as well. You just need to be careful about what your starting values and also what your increment or decrement values are. What we can also do is control Z again to just go back and go with our previous loop before. And this time we do is actually have a decrement value. So let's say 2 and we were to let's say have starting value 2 and have end value of 6. So I'm going to do this while choosing again, go down here, hit play, and what should happen is this is printing out 3 times. So same 1, 2, 3, same 1, 2, 3, and same 1, 2, 3. You start at 2 and then it's going to go down here, and it's going to be 2, so it's going to be 4 and go down here, and finally it's going to be 6 go down here, and then basically so this is how you control your counter variables when you use for loops, and it's also work with while as well. So I'm going to stop, and that's basically that. Now another thing we do is we have loops inside of our loops. So if we were to let's say for example with starting at 1 and 5 and then increment 1, we have a loop inside a loop. So I'm going to do this more simple by basically saying one statement, basically saying okay, look at that, and we're going to create 4 loops inside this. We're going to say for my counter 2 equals 1 comma let's say 5 and 1 again, and we're going to say do print b. Now what's going to happen here is we're going to start 1 up here, so it's going to print a, and then it's going to go down here. We're going to print b 5 times before this counter getting incremented by 1 to then print our second a, and it's going to print 5 more b's before it goes back here. So if I go to the game and play, we'll show you what's going to happen. So it prints a 1 time, and then prints b 5 times, and then it prints the second a, and then prints b 5 times, and it's going to keep going until we reach the input. So this is another powerful way you can use loops by using what's called nested loops, having a loop inside another loop. So I don't want you to experiment with this once you use loops inside your script, and that's basically how we are using loops inside of our script. Now, as for example, what I'm going to do is let's say we want to use a for loop to change the color of this baseplate. Then what we can do is first go back to our script. Actually, I'm going to leave it inside here, and what we're going to do first is make our script. We're going to say little baseplate equals game dot workspace dot baseplate like this, and then we're going to do down here for loop saying for my counter equals 1 comma let's do it 10 times, and then we're going to have an increment by 1 and finally 2. So what we're going to do here is basically change base color to a circle color. So we're going to say baseplate dot brick color equals, and what we're going to do is take the color from the brick color scroll. So 1 and finally 2. So what we're going to do here is basically change base color to a circle color. So we're going to say baseplate dot brick color equals, and what we're going to do is take the color from the brick color scroll. So we click on this, and then what we can do is identify which color we want to have, and we basically write down the color itself in our script. So let's say we want toothpaste. We need to match this name exactly as it is. So what we're going to do is go back to this script, and we're going to type in and we're going to type in the color value. So we don't understand what this means, but just follow exactly what we do, and we just change the color. So we're going to say brick color dot new open parentheses, and we're going to put in whatever color it is we want to change. So it's going to be toothpaste just like that, and this is how we're going to change the color. Now what we can do down here is we're going to draw a line. Now here's the thing. When we're writing for loops, we're using everything's going to be executed simultaneously without any wait to it. So if you're to basically make multiple changes, then we'll be able to see changes happening so quickly. So what we actually do is pause our script for a specific period of time before we execute the next line of code. And this is what's called a wait statement that I'm going to show you what it looks like here. So I'm going to draw a line, and what we're going to do is say task. So this is Roblox task library. And we're going to say dot wait open parentheses. And here we're going to specify the number of seconds that we're going to wait before we reach the next line of code. So in this case, I'm going to say let's say 1 so that we can see the changes. So we wait 1 second before we change the program. So what I'm going to do is
That's what I need. That's what I need. I think what I'm going to do is I will make this block change color. Okay. This is a big box. Them the workspace, the big box. Oh, I'll make it uh, E first 10, E 1, do. Yes! 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 Yes, I like this auto suggestion. It's really nice. Ooh. uh,
just from this vertical change and this vertical change, because once you finish, we're going to immediately go back and change the color one more time for the iteration. So now we go to the game and hit play, and we should see is that our base plate is changing every single second 3 times for a total of 30 times. It's going to change the color 3 times per iteration. We're doing it 10 times in total. So once this vertical changes 30 times, that's when this loop finally stops, and then we now move on to the rest of the script. So that's essentially the basics of using loops inside Roblox. And I'll go to the bottom of this. First thing what I want you to do is basically go through and make more for loops, more while loops. You need to try to nested loops as well to change the basic color. And now that I showed you how to use task, that way to wait for a specific piece of code to execute. And you can also add that to your script as well. You can change the color of the base plate. You can change transparency of the base plate. You can do a whole bunch of things. You can manipulate some of your parts that you created as well. You can do that by using for loops and while loops. So guys, that's the video. That's how you do it. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Welcome back to Roblox. Here's your tutorial.
Ooh, I can make something, man. I can make something cool. Try this, okay? I really like this angular, and I really like this linear velocity thing. It actually moves something. I think I can like move it around, left, right, up, down, up, down. I think I can do that. Let's try, okay? So first of all, let's make this a ball. Hmm. Oh, this is the shape. Make this a ball. It change color, and it also box dot assembly linear velocity and then vector 3 0 0 and minus 100 0 0. Wait, wait, what happened? Please change block color. Um, for space change, attempt to call a table value. Wait, what? What? Change block color, attempt to call table value. Mhm. Okay, now this should work. Wait, I want to try to make the block move. Wait, what? Oh, so it goes like this. Boom, boom. Okay. Mhm. But I make it like move up to. Let's make it a box. A box with no friction, right? Look at this, man. Look at this, man. I find something fun to play with. Yes. Wait. Wait. What? Oh, tux dot wait. What is tux dot wait and weight difference? I don't know. Wait. This will be cool. Okay. Oh. Okay. Okay. Look at this. Oh, it should not have any graffiti, right? Messless. Mm, friction. It should be zero. Wait. Why do I keep doing that? Oh, I just use this position, right? Wanna make this block move. on. Zero. Wait, it will just teleport like twing twing twing. It will not move. So how do I make the block move? Oh, oh, this is to launch. It's different. Place corners, man. So this should be. So, so this is like it move right? And then the next one is Mm. Oh, oh, so pairs make it so it's the first one. Hmm. Oh, this is a map. The movement looks bad. I don't know. It doesn't look that smooth. Yeah, I think I've gone too far away, man. Oh, I'm tired. I need to rest. Think I will finish the video today here because I'm really tired right now. Uh, see you guys tomorrow. And I'm gonna save the game first. Yeah, before. Okay, done. Nice. See you. Bye bye.